Hey, writing is easy. Now, writing something that is informative, encouraging, entertaining, moving, everlasting, it's not easy. It's not easy, but it's also not impossible. Simu Liu, actor and writer, released a book titled We Were Dreamers. And man, is that title accurate? See, this memoir doesn't only tell the uneasy but inspiring story of Mr. Liu, but also that of his parents, which may seem unnecessary to the average reader. Well, it is seen as unnecessary by the average reader. But Mr. Liu anticipates this. Hence, we're good. I mean, like he said, it's their choice. They're wasting their money. They're missing out on a great story. So I mean, you can't control them. But what these readers are missing out on is an enhancer to Mr. Liu's explanation of his relationship with his parents, which is it's a little complicated. Now, obviously, this book begins with the birth of Mr. Liu, but like really shortly after this introduction, we go into the backstory of his parents, which is it's inspiring. It really is. It's really inspirational. It's beautiful. Liu's parents come from a background of high academic achievement, which of course includes countless tireless nights filled with study and crying. Not only this, but they also lived in an environment which was meh. Like there's a we're living right here. We can move up from this. Even so, we can see that his father just had to make things work. And that really shows the strong, like, character of his parents. Well, in this case, his dad, but later we'll see that his mother, they're strong. They know what they're doing. They really make things work even in desolate environments. That's that's commendable. And this becomes important later in the book when we realize that Liu doesn't want to go down the same path as his parents. He doesn't want to go through the same struggle. And this, of course, creates a disconnect. And without advancing too far into the book right now, I would like to acknowledge Liu's great description and explanation when it comes to what's going on in the world in that moment. For example, he explains the death of Mao Zedong, and this basically leads to his dad being able to take an exam, which leads to him getting into college, which it's not easy. And I just want to acknowledge that because it really helps the story move smoothly. There's no moment where I feel like I have to done prior research to understand what's going on. And you shouldn't have to feel like that as a reader. I mean, unless you're doing like some history assignment, but we're not in history. We're in English. Similarly, he explains that the exam I mentioned before, the Gaokao exam, is basically China's equivalent to the SAT, just really harder. And I just really appreciate that because it shows that Liu cares about his audience, which it's just not one demographic. There are many people who want to view this book. I mean, he's one of the coolest superheroes, man. Now, getting back into the story, we turn to Liu's mother, who similarly takes the Gaokao exam and unsurprisingly passes because, she's the GOAT. And if I didn't mention it already, I mean, his dad passed too. I mean, they're the smartest parents in the world. After this, they end up going to the same college and they meet each other. Now, here, Lewis decides to be a silly little fella and describes how the environment that his parents met in, well, it's great they're together today. I mean, simply put, they were in an environment to excel in academia and only academia. Nothing else. Now, I'm not here to tell the life story of Liu's parents. That's his job. And I mean, he does do it for the first act of the three. I just want to emphasize their come up. They went through a lot to get where they got. that right. But they didn't get where they needed to be without a struggle, food shortages, hard labor, and only one opportunity to get into a good college. I mean, those are some circumstances. And of course, as his parents, they want Liu to go down a similar path of respectable work. But just imagine their faces when they find out that he doesn't want to do all that. He wants to be an actor. An actor. What a joke. Okay, no hate, no hate. I'm just talking from their perspective. Now, as we move into the second act of the book, we can see that family members, especially parents' words, can be very touching, as well as they can be disgruntling. And these words can really change the mindset held by their children, as well as the trajectory of their life, for the better and the worse. Now, Leo grew up a rebellious kid, understandably so. I mean, just imagine your parents, like, not being with you for a few years of your life because they had to go to work a lot. And then when you actually get the chance to bond with them, they only care about your academic success. You know, that's really frustrating. Like, no room for his personal feelings. I was a little blown away by the dialogue in this act. Like, did you have to violate him like that? Like right here, I'm kinda on Liu's side, honestly. Like, man, be a little supportive of me, please. I'm your son. But more on the bright side, I do want to acknowledge his reflective but comical tone. I mean, like, I wasn't bursting out laughing or anything for this dialogue, but I mean, like, who's laughing like that? Oh my gosh, that is so funny, bro. Like, it's not the goal of the book, but it his dialogue it makes me smile. It makes me grin. You know, it makes me grin. It doesn't feel like a crazy shift when he says something slightly comedic when he was just talking about his really unfortunate relationship with his parents. You know, he's human. He's human, and I understand that from the dialogue given in the book. You know, like no matter where you're at in the book, it feels like you're just having a conversation with him, and that's really something good to have with your book. And after he details his high school experience, you know, rebellious teenager in high school, you know, he's not too different from the bunch. He heads to college. Good job, man. And does pretty much nothing. Bad job, man. Do better. But the thing is that that's completely okay. Okay, that sounds kind of crazy, but it's okay. I love that he's honest with his audience. And at the end of the day, at the end of the book, he knew he could write this. I mean, like, that's the whole purpose of this book. He shows that everybody has their own struggles and insecurities. What matters is that we get past that to advance to greater success. It doesn't matter how long it takes or what way you do it. As long as you get where you need to be. Success. Back to the story though. Liu studies to become an accountant. And spoilers, he graduates. But he still wants to do acting. That and he got fired from his first job. He was lazy. And while reading, you can see that he appreciates this period of his life. It's it was a huge learning experience and will lead to even greater success. Like Liu isn't general with his word choice. Like you'll see how he's this lazy guy with a terrible work ethic in college. And we see how he advances from that when he pursues his acting career. And it's great to see. And it's an amazing thing how this book is just structured. We can see the growth through the writing. That's beautiful. We finally reach the third act of the book, which goes into detail about Liu's acting career. Here in the book, Liu is a Canadian person of color who has moved to America, and already he's at a disadvantage. And of course, expected from the very calculated Mr. Liu, he develops the same skills as his parents, aka hard work. See, everything comes around. What I learned from this act is that you're gonna be in situations where you're uncontrollably disadvantaged. What's important is working through these situations so that you don't succumb to any troubles or hazards. In other words, don't let the haters get to you. In this third act, you can really see Liu's desperation for success, and it really makes you care for his story and how far he's came. He's going movie set to movie set every single day, just looking for work. He'll take any amount, he'll take unpaid, he'll take low pay, all to reach his goal. It's really inspiring. I actually read a memoir earlier this year by actor Terry Crews. They're both actors. Guess where this is going? They've lived similar lives. They've had similar experiences. They both happen to been on movie sets where they were given roles where they just had to mock their races. I know it's pretty weird, isn't it? Why is that common? But we know why it's common. It's that desperation. They were both at low periods in their lives. They they felt there was no other way. It's a stepping stone to their success. Now, all three of the acts have their own great storylines, but the best one is definitely the last act because he tells us the story of how he played Spider-Man at a birthday party. Yeah, that's great. He really had to deal with these really bad kids. But it's evident by the title of the specific chapter that story takes place in. He's he needs that. He needs that gig. One thing I like about memoirs is that you generally know that the authors have they have a happy ending. I mean, they wrote the book at the end of the day. Or maybe I only like reading books with happy endings. See, this is one of those books. What's most important is the how we got there. But the fact that Liu did get there, you can tell that's the reason he wrote this book. He beat the odds, even being a Canadian person of color in America trying to act, even with his parents not supporting what he was doing. He still reached success. So he can represent hard work. He can represent a struggle that turned into success. He's inspiring so many people who feel underrepresented in media to step up and make a change. Liu tells his story exceptionally, whether it's the followable narration, the pretty cool pop culture references, or just his strong word choice. And if you choose to read and finish through this book, you'll understand that if you remain tenacious through hardship, you'll reach great prosperity. So, with that, hopefully you're interested in reading the book. Regardless of the book content, if you can tell that the writing was heartfelt, it's always worth your time to pick up and read. Thank you for your time. Go read a book or something. Have fun.